Hello and welcome to Timeless with Julie Hartman Live. It is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. I'm Julie Hartman, and it is great, as always, to be with you. 844-861-5537 is the call-in number, 844-861-5537. And as always, you can use the live chat, which I'll be monitoring throughout the episode. Now, although I say, as always, that it is great to be with you, I do wish that I were with you today under better circumstances. As many of you know from a PragerU announcement this morning, my dear friend, colleague, and co-host Dennis Prager took a pretty rough fall yesterday morning. He's currently in the hospital recovering, and of course, we will keep you updated with the status of his health as we are made aware of the status of his health. But I ask, please, for your prayers for him. Dennis has done so much for me, really for all of us. I know so many people have written into him and to me, expressing how Dennis has changed their lives, how he has changed them religiously, elevated them intellectually, changed their marriages, you name it. And after all he has done for us, and especially after all he has done to try to spread Judeo-Christian values, I very much hope that we can all take some time out of our day to repay Dennis and hopefully heal him with the healing power of our prayers. So please, please do make that a priority for all of us, and thank you so much in advance. Now, on to happier news. We see that President Trump continues to come out with announcements pertaining to his new administration, which will, of course, come into office in the next 2 months. And the latest as of today is that Representative Tulsi Gabbard, who, of course, is a veteran and was a representative in the U.S. House of Representatives from the state of Hawaii, she is tapped to serve as the Director of National Intelligence. Reading today from President Donald Trump, quote, "I am pleased to announce that former Congresswoman Lieutenant Colonel Tulsi Gabbard will serve as Director of National Intelligence. For over 2 decades, Tulsi has fought for our country and for the freedom of all Americans." Now, I know I've made this point before, but I think it is worth reiterating that it is really incredible how diverse, that's right, I'm using a left-wing buzzword, diverse, Trump's coalition is. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, as we know, was a former Democrat. I remember when I was 8 years old in 2008, when Obama was running for president, seeing Tulsi Gabbard with her ever-striking white streak in her hair, standing next to President Obama and campaigning. And I really thought, I even remember then thinking, she may be the first female president for the Democratic Party. To see that she has left the Democratic Party and joined the Satan, as far as Democrats are concerned, of the Republican cause, Donald Trump, is nothing to sneeze at. Obviously, in addition to that, we have RFK, who is a member of Democratic Party royalty who switched from the Democratic Party. He's going to be serving, we don't know quite in what capacity yet, but in Trump's administration. We have Vivek Ramaswamy, who, of course, it was announced yesterday, is going to head alongside Elon Musk, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which is essentially an apparatus intended to uproot the deep state. I mean, this is an amazing thing that Donald Trump has been able to bring together such a cast of characters. And it also raises the question, which I find to be utterly fascinating. Would he have been able to do this if he won in 2020? I don't think so. In a way, it actually may be, dare I say, a good thing that Donald Trump lost in 2020, because it has enabled him to bring together this massive coalition. In fact, I was also just reading an article this morning that overwhelmingly young people and minorities, I know, can you believe it, Democrats that are listening, that minorities would vote for Donald Trump? Young people and minorities overwhelmingly brought him to the White House. And so, of course, many on the left who talk about diversity as a chief value that we should all endeavor to adopt in our lives will not give the president the due credit for the diverse coalition he has brought together. But again, it does raise the question if he would have been able to do this if he won in 2020. And it reveals a seemingly counterintuitive thing about life, that sometimes when things don't go your way, it could be preparing you for something even greater. I think that's true of politics. I think that's true of our personal lives. I certainly hope that is true of dark times in our personal lives. But sometimes, as Rudyard Kipling says in the poem If, that great poem where he goes, if you can this, if you can that, then you'll be, a really great, strong, sturdy person. One of my favorite lines in that poem is, if you can meet triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. I love that. 2020 seemed like a disaster, but that was illusory. In a way, it seems like it was a triumph in disguise. So that's the good news. And, just also a quick note on this DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency conglomeration, which is headed, as I had indicated, by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. President Donald Trump said in this announcement, quote, "Together, these two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies, essential to the Save America movement." He continues, "I look forward to Elon and Vivek making changes to the federal bureaucracy with an eye on efficiency and at the same time making life better for all Americans." Now, let me ask you a question. If Donald Trump is really a dictator, if he is really a fascist and the Hitlerian, draconian figure that the left makes him out to be, does it accord with common sense that that dictator would try to create a conglomeration to lessen the power of government? Can you identify any dictator which has ever said, yeah, you know what, let's make government smaller. Let's actually slash some of these programs. Let's actually evaluate if everything is being done efficiently. Small government does not always or ever seem to accord with dictatorships. But again, of course, like the whole diversity point, this will not get the credit that is due. I want to pivot, though, today to talk about something that is going on outside of our country's borders, although I certainly hope that it will be adopted within our country's borders. It's something that Americans really ought to look at. This week, the Prime Minister of Australia announced that he is hoping to pass a bill through Parliament this year which would ban social media for all Australians under the age of 16. We've heard this. By the way, I just have to bring in Sean McConnell, who is in the producer's dungeon. Hi, Seanzy. Welcome.
Hi, Jules. How you doing?
I mean, of course, we're all worried about Mr. Prager, yeah. But besides that, good. How are you?
I'm about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I saw your eyes widen when I made that announcement about Australia banning or hoping to pass a bill banning social media for those under the age of 16.
It's a bold move.
It is quite the bold move. And
yeah.
I really hope that we Americans give some consideration to this after the amount that social media has wreaked havoc on our lives. I mean, we saw that thrown into sharp relief over the past few months with the Gaza solidarity encampments on college campuses, and people like Abigail Shrier have done excellent work exposing that so much of the gender craziness that we're seeing actually comes from things that are inculcated into our youth through social media. Reading here from Abigail Shrier's book, 65% of adolescent girls discovered transgenderism after prolonged social media immersion. Also, quote, the prevalence of transgender identification within some of the girls' friends groups was more than 70 times the expected rate. She also cited another study talking about how specifically on TikTok, gender dysphoria is really normalized and inculcated into our youth. And remember that trend a few months ago? Let's hope it's a bygone trend and not a continuing trend. When young people were twitching, like they had uncontrollable twitches. That's because they're on their phones and they're watching people who are twitching and they inherit some of the defects that they are watching online. I mean, I don't need to tell you about the harmful effects of social media. Actually, I do, though, because we focus very much on the more, should I say, extreme effects, the twitching, the gender dysphoria, the political brainwashing that occurs on these apps. But I actually think that the more dangerous part of these apps are the regular and intended use of such social media sites. Let's say we took out all of those aforementioned draconian elements that come with Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. Still, I believe it is not in accordance with human dignity and with human interaction for us to be online in a tiny profile picture, a 250 character bio, followers and following, and a bunch of photos and videos to be posted. I'm 25 years old. Many people my age spend literally hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, as much as 8 hours, sometimes 12 hours a day on social media. And this is the hill, as some of you know who have been listening to me for some time, that I am going to die on. I think social media is a cancer. I think it can be perhaps done in moderation, but overwhelmingly, certainly with people under the age of 16, I would even dare to say for people of all ages, social media should really be severely cut from our lives. But let's take a look here at what Australia is doing. It's quite bold. First, let's put up a picture just to illustrate the point. Picture one. This is of an average 18-year-old right now. If you took such a person and looked at their remaining time in their lives, for if their life expectancy, as you can see there at the top, is 90 years old, they will spend a third, that's right, a third of their life on social media. You can see there that sleep accounts for, 30% of one's life, perhaps even more. And then you look at the other components there. Driving is a small amount, chores and errands, and work and school, cooking and eating, and the rest of it is social media and television and what are the other mediums? We have social media, we have television, and maybe virtual reality headsets? Video games. Thank you, Sean. That's one of the other things that I have stayed away from. But that's pretty staggering. As I said, Australia has announced that they want to push this bill through the parliament, and surprisingly, it actually has bipartisan support from the Labor government and the opposition coalition. Let's listen to the first video of the Prime Minister of Australia announcing this new push. Video 2.
Social media is doing harm to our kids, and I'm calling time on it. I've spoken to thousands of parents, grandparents, aunties and uncles. They, like me, are worried sick about the safety of our kids online. And I want Australian parents and families to know that the government has your back. I want parents to be able to say, sorry mate, it's against the law for me to get you to do this. We don't argue that the changes that we will be legislating will fix everything immediately. We have laws such as people can't buy alcohol if they're under 18. And from time to time, that can be broken. But those laws set what the parameters are for our society, and they assist in ensuring the right outcomes. Now, government's proposed age is 16. That decision was made in Cabinet on Monday. And that proposal will go to the National Cabinet meeting that I'm convening online, a virtual meeting tomorrow morning.
So here's what's important to know. As you just heard, it would ban all Australians under the age of 16 from having social media accounts, regardless of parental consent. Doesn't matter if the parent okays it. it's not allowed if you're under 16. And what the Prime Minister also said is that the responsibility would lie not on the individual or not on parents, but on the social media companies themselves. There's a group in Australia, a government group that is, called the eSafety Commission, and it's Australia's online safety watchdog. And essentially, they have said, in somewhat vague terms, they haven't explicated what specifically these penalties would be, but that there would be penalties imposed on the social media companies if they somehow allow a 16-year-old, or forgive me, someone under 16 years old to gain an account. Let's listen to the Prime Minister talk a little bit about that.
The onus will be on, just to go through some of the details, the onus will be on social media platforms to demonstrate they are taking reasonable steps to prevent access. The onus won't be on parents or young people. There will be no penalties for users. The eSafety Commissioner will provide oversight and enforcement.
Well, here's the thing that many people are worried about. If these social media companies, in order to follow the law, have to take measures to ensure that the users are 16 or older, they may require users to present an identification that they upload to the database. But as we know, a lot of these social media companies have data problems where they sell your data to third parties, and it is incredibly ambiguous oftentimes what they actually do with that data. We know that this has been especially exposed with TikTok, which is owned by the parent company ByteDance, which is a CCP-backed enterprise. And Joe Rogan went on his podcast and he went through the terms of conditions, which the rest of us just scroll down and click OK to. And he found that essentially TikTok seized so much of your data, not just the details of your identification, but also perhaps your financial records, the titles and contents of your documents and your files on your devices. He also found that they can track your direct messages, your private messages, and even if you type a message and you don't send it, they still have access to that. So this is a tricky thing where it presents a problem for, I think, conservatives in particular, who would overwhelmingly agree that social media has a deleterious effect, to put it mildly, on our youth. But also, is really the answer having government involvement and giving more information to these companies and to the government, which could be taken over by bad actors? I'm really curious to know what you think. Sean, as always, dying to know your opinion. I would preliminarily say that this is a good thing, because here's the thing that I think a lot of us are now talking about, especially with this transgender issue. There are just some things which people of a certain age who are in an impressionable part of life, whose brains are not fully developed, should just not be allowed to do. The Prime Minister there mentioned alcohol. We have provisions here in the United States and in Australia against alcohol consumption until you're at a certain age, against cigarette usage until you're a certain age. Hey, you have restrictions on being able to buy a house at a certain age, or fly on a plane alone, or get a tattoo. Wouldn't you know that in a lot of states here in the United States, it is a felony to tattoo a minor without parental consent. In some states, even with parental consent, as is the case with this proposed social media law, it still isn't even allowed. And I remember social media coming up when I was young. I was born in 1999. Twitter was created, in 2004, 2005, Facebook around the same time, Instagram a little bit later in 2012. And I remember I got my first social media account when I was 13 years old. This is kind of a nerdy story, but I was at soccer practice and I met David Beckham. His son was practicing on another team at the field that I was playing on. And I was such a big soccer girl, a big David Beckham fan, and he was so gracious and was taking pictures with all of us. And I had heard some of my classmates in 7th grade talking about Instagram. And frankly, I didn't really know what the heck it was. I knew it was just this platform where people could follow you and you could post things. And I remember being in the car and I was so amazed that I had gotten this photo with David Beckham. And I turned to my dad, I'll never forget this. And I was like, Dad, I need to broadcast this to all of my friends. Can I get an Instagram? And he just said sure, because he had no idea what it was. He was like, what's that? I don't even know what that is. Is it safe? And I was a responsible kid, so he trusted me. And I said, yes. And he was like, okay, sure, get an Instagram. 13 years old, I got an Instagram. 10 years later, on my 23rd birthday, I deleted my Instagram. That is my personal Instagram. I now have a professional one, which, as you know, I love maintaining. I do. I mean, sort of. But I realized over those 10 years, I had probably spent months of my life on social media, and I was pretty damn good compared to other people my age. And I can't say that I am smarter or wiser or more informed or happier, or frankly, I can't remember a damn thing I learned or even saw on those social media accounts. And I remembered at 23 years old thinking, you know what, Julie? Right now, in every possible way in your life, you're investing in your future. You're investing intellectually in yourself. You're investing financially in yourself. That's when I started opening up, a Roth IRA and started investing in the stock market. When I started working, I said I'm investing in myself professionally. And a lot of people think in those terms, but they don't think about investing in their well-being, their mental, spiritual well-being, their social life, their interpersonal well-being by getting off of social media. And I really think if we do this now, especially people my age, in 20 years, 30 years, it will be the equivalent of investing in Apple stock in the early weeks that it was launched. We will look back and go, that was the best investment we ever made. Yes, Sean.
Social media. Social media.
Is that the way I say it?
No, that's how the Australians say it.
Oh, it's true.
I agree with almost everything you said. I'm a little older than you, and I remember
Really?
all the stuff coming out. Yeah, shocker. And I tried to keep. I remember MySpace, which I know you don't know about, but was a precursor to Facebook, like Beta was to VHS. And I quit as well. I quit all
Really?
social media. Yeah, long before you, because I didn't. I'm not an extrovert. I didn't enjoy being on it. I saw that it was a giant time suck. All of this was unleashed on society without any thought to the consequences of
Yes, we're the guinea pigs.
the mental and psychological effects that it would have. And for you grew up in a world where it was just there. It was already there, that you didn't know a world before it. So I tend to agree that it is an addictive thing. And it should probably be regulated. Although, in general, I don't want the government telling us what we can and can't do.
Right.
It seems that there needs to be some regulation here. Now, did I hear him correctly? There wouldn't be consequences? Is it like the talking on your phone law in your car where it's like never regulated?
Yeah. or like most laws now, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he said that there would be the consequences, the onus of responsibility would be on the social media companies themselves, not on the individual or the parent. Parents. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, you can't imagine. And again, I was very blessed to have a good head on my shoulders, thankfully. And I really am not saying this as a toot my own horn thing. I just think I got really lucky with my disposition. I never struggled with social issues, and I never struggled with an eating disorder. And that makes me very uncommon among people my age. And I can't even tell you how many people I watched become, I don't even want to say it, but becomes really sick with eating disorders because of the female pressure to look a certain way on social media. I saw so many people who became absolutely addicted, like you lose people to their phones. And another thing is that, and I even noticed this as someone who's, I've been going on saying I was pretty good. I'll tell you what I wasn't particularly good at. When you are young and you are living your life online, you literally cannot help but take photos of everything. it is this Pavlovian thing. I even see it here at the office. You know, Dennis will do something funny, or Sean will do something funny, or something happens, which, I'm sorry, does not need to be photographed. And I'll take a picture of it, or I'll take a video of it. Hopefully I'm not too annoying about it, but I'll go, why? Why do I do that? Frankly, I never look back at these photos. I have 40,000 photos in my camera roll, and I never look back at them. And it's because from such a young age, this is your life, and you almost can't blame one person. It's a Pavlovian instinctual response. And it's like, of course you have to post your life. Because here's the thing, and this was my point earlier, which I don't hear people talking about enough, and I will beat this dead horse until it's even more dead. The regular intended use of these social media platforms is the problem, just as much as the extreme effects. It is not right for human beings to be reduced to a profile picture, a 250 character bio, and a set of photos and videos. Because what that does is it makes a human being a brand to be marketed. You cannot be a multifaceted person when you are putting that much energy into your social media account. And it forces you to think, how do I want to portray myself? Not who really am I, but how do I want to appear? And we now live in this age where people care so much more. I see this all the time with people's jobs, people who work at these fancy consulting companies or these fancy financial institutions, and they work at a place that's a recognizable name, but they're really doing grunt work. So many of us are so concerned with how something appears and not how it really is. And that is so much compounded by social media. And I will see people my age and of all ages who become a character. They try on different personalities and different aesthetics as if they're different hairstyles or clothing styles, because the actual function and the format of these social media companies forces you to do that. Where people will go like, okay, how do I want to come off? Am I an artsy girl? Am I posting pictures of me at an art gallery? Or, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe how staged these damn photos are. People will like have a canvas of paint, and they'll take a picture of their color wheel with smudged paint because it looks cool. Or maybe they'll go, I'm a hiker girl. I'm a outdoorsy girl, and they'll post pictures about that. Or I'm into food. And it's like, really? This is all you are? And then, let me tell you, there is a whole, sorry, I'm going on, but I don't care, because people need to understand this. And a lot of people who are older don't understand this. Then there is the whole caption game, where people will spend, when I was younger, people would text me 5 different options for a caption. They wanted a pun for their caption. They wanted a witty caption. They wanted something cool and defiant and different. And people would spend hours and tear their hair out trying to figure out a caption. And then by the time that they got their caption, it was 7:00 at night. And oh my God, it's too late to post because people are having dinner. Like, that is the level of it. So,
But Julie, it's good to have social connection, and it's good to have a history of the things you've done to look back on, and there are benefits to
why do you need social
media.
media for social connection and a history of what you've done? You can have your camera roll for a history of what you've done, and you can call people and get together in person.
I'm playing devil's advocate, but you understand where I'm coming. There are benefits to this. The truth travels faster now because of social media.
So do lies. So do lies.
The cat is out of the bag. The toothpaste is out of the tube. You have to deal with this. You can't make it go away. You can regulate it. You can pass laws, but it's out. And people are going to find ways to it no matter what you do. So how do we deal with that?
I agree. I think the main thing that needs to change is in the court of public opinion. I think that we need to convince people of how bad this is. And look, Sean, obviously you're right. I mean, my gosh, I get so many lovely messages from people on social media. I've been able to connect with fans. I mean, when I was in Berlin, I met this guy who listens to Dennis and Julie. He's 26 years old. And the only reason I'd be able to meet him is because of social media. It's not all bad, but it is making our lives deadened and diminished. And it is also making us these one-dimensional people where we can't underestimate how much it takes away from our character and personality to be able to have a full and rich life because of these social media companies. I'll leave you with two things. The first one, I think, really illustrates the point I'm trying to make. I can promise you, if you were to take a poll of social media users, which is everybody, you know, whatever, whatever age group you want, probably younger is better for this, and you said to them, I could promise you an all expenses paid for, extravagant, amazing vacation anywhere you want in the world, but you can't talk about it. You can't post about it. You can't do anything. Like, you can, nobody but you and your friend who you're taking on this trip can know that it happened. I bet a lot of people would prefer, I know this sounds crazy. I know you're going to think I'm exaggerating. I actually don't think I am. I think a lot of people, or the alternative is, or you could have the best photo shoot in the world about this vacation, like the hottest bikini pictures of you on the beach and these great, you know, Getty Images level pictures of you partying on a yacht or at a club or riding an elephant or whatever. Which one would you prefer? I honest to God think a significant percentage of people would choose the latter. I'm not kidding. Sean thinks I'm exaggerating. I'm not.
No.
Because we have become so obsessed with how things appear that in a way, the fake actually feels more real to us than the real. I know it sounds weird, but I actually think more people would feel like they had that experience if they had the crazy, you know, Vogue photos than if they actually had it and couldn't take any pictures of it. And that is the damn problem. I said I'd leave you with another point. This is it. You know, there are so many kid influencers on social media, and I just have to say it's really creepy. I mean, when you are a kid, you should not become an influencer. Okay, some people, I get, you know, they're actors, and for some people it's a creative outlet. I get it. I'm not trying to paint it with one broad brush. But there are some really young kids whose parents are pimping them out on social media to do these mindless TikToks. And it's like, how do you think that you are setting your child up for success? It's child exploitation, in my opinion. Let's look at picture 6. This is a kid influencer. He's 10 years old, this guy. 10 years old. He looks a little younger there. That's an old photo. But he is 10 years old. He has millions of followers on social media. His account is run by his parents, and he does TikToks and vlogs all day long. Let's look at picture 4. This is a 14-year-old. He's now actually 19, and he was a fashion model, and his mother managed his account, and he had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. Picture 5, another kid influencer. I'm so sorry. The one that you saw, this one, yeah, the picture 4 is 14 years old. This one, picture 5, he's now 19, but he started off when he was really young. And you just see that these are just like mindless videos. And we are en masse producing a society which has kid influencers, and really almost every single social media account makes you into a mini influencer. And if you think that's healthy for the kids, well, you and I part company on that one. But as always, very eager to hear your thoughts. You can always email me at julie@julie-hartman.com. Love hearing from you about this and any subject. But before you leave, yes, before I leave, Sean, yes.
Well, in the chat, there's a lot of comments about Dennis and questions about Dennis. And also somebody asking, how did the LSAT go?
It was fine. That's really sweet of you to ask. I mean, I think I said to Sean, I wouldn't be shocked with any score. If I did really well or really poorly, I wouldn't be shocked. But that's so kind of you to ask. Thank you. And the questions about Dennis.
We told you what we know, and you'll have to stay tuned. As we get more information, we'll be happy to share it with you.
Yes. But please do pray for him.
Yep.
And what was I going to do? Oh, pillow. Yes. Oh, God. No, you've been wondering. All right. Let's talk about My Pillow. Right now, you can get a massive discount discount, on MyPillow products. For instance, the standard MyPillow is available for just $14.88, a saving that is just too good to pass up. There's a limit of 10 per customer, so don't wait to take advantage of this great deal now with the promo code Hartman. And there's more. You can take home a 4-piece kitchen set for only $25. Enjoy their new mattress topper starting at just $99.99, or pick up the luxurious MyPillow bed sheets starting at $49.98. Now, yours truly uses a MyPillow. I sleep on a MyPillow. I sleep on the Giza Dream bed sheets. I wear my slippers and I use my towels. Actually, both the kitchen and the bath towel set. I just live in a MyPillow home. What can I say? You can call 1-800-566-6745 to get your pillows. I should call my slippers my slippers and my MyPillow pillow. Visit mypillow.com. Again, 1-800-566-6745 and use the promo code Hartman to unlock huge discounts. Don't delay. Order today. Use Hartman, the promo code, at checkout. Thank you so much. As you can probably surmise, there will not be a Dennis and Julie this week. You know, we have done this for 138 episodes, and we've only missed one because we just couldn't make it work with our travel schedule. And unfortunately, we will be missing this week. And we pray so much that there will be more Dennis and Julie's. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.